So what if I tell you Python can replace multiple if else conditions with just one line of code, which is cleaner, faster, and you can tell it to the interviewer and he might get impressed. Let's go. Welcome back to Geeky Codes. In first video you learned tuple unpacking. Today I will show you a next level Python trick that makes your code shorter, faster, and smarter. This is heavily used in real world projects and interviews. So the problem statement is that suppose you want to map keys to actions or values. For example, there are HTTP status codes or user roles or feature flags, maybe menu driven programs. And most beginners write long if else chains. So the traditional way to do things like these is we define a status is equal to 404 and then we just put if else conditions. So let's start writing the code. Status is equal to 200. Then we will just define a message variable that is success, and then elif status is equal to 404, message equal to not found, and then again elif status is equal to 500, then message should be message is equal to server error, else message is equal to unknown error. Okay, now let me improve this one. Now coming to this part, and now after this, if we print the message, and let me run this one, so you can see, oh sorry, I think here status, it is status. Okay, now let me run it and check. You can see that for 404 it is returning the status message is not found. Okay, now the problem with this code is that there are too many if conditions. For example, like there are thousands of message codes or status codes, then you will have to write a long list of elif codes, and the code will be very lengthy, and it will not be easy to scale, and it will be very difficult to maintain. Also, interviewers don't like your messy code or long code. So the thing is that like we can write another code which is very optimized and very short. So let me delete this one, and now let me define status is equal to 404, and now we can define a dictionary. Okay, status underscore message equal to a key value dictionary. Okay, so this is the code for HTTPS code and the message associated with this one, success. Okay, and then there is another code which is 404, and then message associated with this one is not found, not found, and then there is another HTTPS code which is 500 and it means server error. Okay, now we will define a variable message is equal to status underscore message dot get, and then we will get the status comma unknown error. Unknown underscore error. Okay, and now let me print the message. Okay, so let me try to run it, and then we can see that the code is very optimized and you don't have to write a long list of elif conditions, and you can see that it is printing the same thing. So how is this different from previous code? This one is very clean, scalable and professional. So let's see how this trick works internally. Let's understand it step by step. So here we have defined a message variable which gets status underscore message dot get status comma unknown error. Okay, here Python looks for status as a key in the dictionary, and if it is found, then it returns the value, and if not found, then it returns the default value, that is unknown error. And you can see here that there is no condition checking, constant time lookup. Like in this one, you don't have to iterate through all the elif conditions. You just have to look for the status code. Time complexity of this code is just big O of 1. And what are real world practical examples of this one? So the first example is role based access. This is very common. For example, we have a role defined. Role is equal to admin, and we can define a dictionary of permissions. Permissions equal to, maybe if admin is there, if role name is admin, then it will have full access, and if role name is user, then it will have let's say limited access, and if it is a like a guest, then it will have only read only. Okay, and then we can just print permissions dot get role comma no access. Okay, so in this one, what is happening when we have defined a dictionary, and it will look for the role in this key, and then if no key is found, like that means it is something admin, maybe me, then it will not be found in the key values, so it will return no access, otherwise it will return a full access. So let me run it, and as you can see that admin has full access. Similarly, it can be used in replacing function calls. That is something, let me define a function def add, and here a comma b can be defined, and then it returns a plus b, and then there is another function which is subtract a comma b, and it return a minus b. Okay, and now we have a list of operations. Operations is equal to add, then we return the function add, and if like the operation is subtract, then we just return the subtract. Okay, and now we will just define a variable result is equal to operations, and then we have add. Okay, and a function 10 list of variables, that means 10 comma 5, and now let me print it, print result. Okay, so now let me try to run it and check. You can see here that it is returning the add, that means this function, and then variables are passed to this function, that is 10 comma 5, and it is returning the 15. That means after applying this operation, we are returning the value. So this is called function dispatch, and it is very, if you apply this method in interviews, it is very impressive. Also, then there are menu driven programs, something like we have a choice is equal to 2, and then menu is defined as like maybe 1 is defined as start, and then 2 is defined as like maybe settings, and then 3 is defined as exit. Okay, and we can print the menu dot get choice comma invalid choice. Okay, if we run it, you can see that for 2 there is settings defined. So where you can use this kind of trick when you are working with backend development or APIs and microservices, maybe feature toggles or ML pipelines, and to if you want to like have a clean architecture of codes, then you can apply this method. And also in Python interviews, it will be very impressive if you use this trick. And interviewers love this because it shows data structure knowledge and optimization thinking and clean code mindset. You can also combine this method with the lambda functions also. Let me try to implement that. So we have a list of functions. That means actions is equal to square, and that can be defined as lambda x, x star x, and then we have a another action that is cube, and you can return lambda x x to the power 3. Okay, and then close the curly braces. Now if you want to like print the actions, we can print here actions. Now let me try to run it. You can see that we have an action called uh, square, and then there is another which is cube. You can see that this method is very short and powerful, and it is elegant also. This video added some value, then please do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Geeky Codes, and comment part 3 if you want even more advanced Python tricks, so that I can and bring one more Python trick which you can apply in your day-to-day work or projects, or maybe in interviews. Thank you for watching and see you in next video.